Cheers! Welcome to Movie Bitches! Episode 288. Tonight we're reviewing Saltburn. Oh boy. So, well, first things first. Shout out to our Patreon supporters. $5 a month gets you ad-free early access. $10 gets you access to our viewing parties. We didn't do one because I saw this in theaters, and this was the perfect Nicole Kidman audience. There was hooting and hollering when she came on.
We come to AMC theaters to laugh.
And I said, you know what? This is the right audience for this.
I had the exact opposite experience.
Great.
But it was also the right audience.
Okay,
because
good.
the majority of them walked out.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Well, second thing second.
Yes.
Make sure to subscribe, share, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Letterboxd. Click the thumbs up button. Comment. Did you walk out? Did you see this with a good theater crowd? Don't see this with your parents.
Oh no.
That would be probably pretty traumatic and scarring for the rest of your life.
Their life.
Sure, everyone involved.
So, Saltburn,
Yeah.
the new Emerald Fennel movie.
Yeah.
Now, you still haven't seen Promising Young Woman, yes?
I have not.
That's exciting.
For some reason.
Yeah, for you. That's exciting for
Okay,
you.
great. You liked it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. I confused when someone told me she did Promising Young Woman. In my head, I heard Bad Education, which I absolutely hated. Carey Mulligan, I think, too. And she was
No, An Education.
Oh, An Education.
I forget who directed that.
I forget, but I did not care for that movie.
I remember
and
liking
so I was
the
like,
soundtrack.
oh gosh, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
So right, you liked Promising Young Woman. I have not seen it.
I really liked Promising Young Woman. I think I like Promising Young Woman more than this.
Okay.
Because it's tighter.
Okay.
Not to say that I didn't really enjoy this movie and there was a lot to talk about. But,
A lot.
Well, we can talk about it.
We will.
I have some notes.
Great.
But also, I took some notes.
Well, so spoiler alert, we will be talking about a lot of things.
Oh,
I would say
go in blind.
Go in I didn't know a thing, and actually I knew one thing that happened because I saw an article about it.
Okay.
And I was like, I wish I hadn't known. It would have been
all
that much
I
more shocking.
No, all I knew was Emerald Fennel's new movie about Oxford boys.
Barry Keoghan.
Yes. Oh, Barry Keoghan. Oh boy.
Yeah.
So I would say, if you're not faint of heart,
correct.
Go see Saltburn.
It is entertaining. I don't know if it's a good movie.
I don't know if it's a good movie, but I liked it.
I liked it a lot. I had a great time. It was memorable.
Oh, boy, the audacity.
But, and so, okay.
Because this is her blank check.
Sure, yes.
And boy, do I love a blank check movie because...
Well, and Richard E. Grant.
It's
in
just
another blank check movie.
Yes. No. What?
Howard Hughes.
Oh,
Hudson Hawk.
Hudson Hawk. Yeah.
What can I tell you? I'm the villain.
I thought you were saying that for some reason that Richard E. Grant was in Beau is Afraid or something.
Oh, no.
Like,
different. Oh, no, I would have been into that.
Different blank check.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah, as long as you're, I mean, if you're scandalized, leave. It's fine.
Oh, I'm scandalized!
You can walk out. A lot of people did. And I laughed at them.
I love that.
Had a great time. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
A bit too sick for my taste. I never believe that. Everyone's so sick. Full sickos. Everyone's a full sicko.
To see different people's breaking points was a very interesting...
I love that. There were clearly...
I felt like Margaret Mead, you know? I was anthropologist.
Great.
And I was like, ooh, what's going to push their button?
Well, and it was clear, I felt like this movie was designed or written, or she was pushing it. She was trying to spark outrage, right?
Isn't it so nice to just like make and watch something that isn't just sort of like ground down into its most palatable and straightforward? Wouldn't you rather get hospitalized than just like get a bit tipsy? I mean, I know I would. That's why I don't drink anymore.
And I'm like, you know what? Why not?
But not in a annoying or completely unwarranted way.
No, there were moments.
And it went up and...
And they really tickled me. There were just several times I would go...
Oh, this is an experience.
An experience. And I love that. I love an experience at the movies.
I do too. So,
Rosamund
Yes.
Pike.
Yeah.
Period. End of sentence. Fabulous coont. Honestly,
She was fabulous.
she served such
We thought you'd grow out of it, the throwing up.
I didn't know.
Well, exactly. Hasn't even helped. Complete waste of time.
It was
Yeah.
great. She was just giving.
What was it? I was lesbian for a while, but it was all too wet.
It was too wet.
I was a lesbian for a while, you know. But it was all just too wet for me in the end. Men are so lovely and dry.
There's just so much. Her and Richard E. Grant play the parents of this wealthy boy,
Yeah.
Jacob Elordi, who I've decided is if Timothée Chalamet
Yeah.
was a man. So rude.
Fuck, that's kind. Are you serious?
I don't know him.
I didn't know him until
Apparently,
this.
he's from Euphoria.
Oh.
I looked it up. I don't watch that show. Boy, is he hot.
Yeah.
The movie was so obsessed with him.
This movie was kind of what I wish that Peach fucking was.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I love that scene. But I would have ate the peach. I would have eaten the peach.
I love that you don't even have to say, like, yes.
I can't think of it.
I know what it is. Should I tell you?
Sure.
Call me by your name.
Call me by your name. I was C was in my, yeah.
100%, because I so desperately wanted them to fuck.
Yes.
And
So did he.
and so did he. But they had such
In a way, I guess
she-
they did. We'll get there.
Not me being jealous of a grave.
the camera photographed him in such a way.
Yes.
The movie presented him in
Yes.
such a way, in such gaze. There was such a
Oh, gaze, not gaze.
there was such a gaze upon him
Oh, you mean the gays, not the gays.
that, like, even if he's not your type, you were like, he's and you, I don't know, I didn't connect with Barry Keoghan on a lot of things, his character, but I so desperately wanted them to fuck. You know what I mean?
I
There
do.
was something there that I was like, he's so hot. He must be fucked by him. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. There was some desperation
There was
that
something-
I really felt from.
Yes. And it was interesting because this movie is doing a lot and it's doing absolutely nothing at the same time. But what I appreciated was kind of similarly, I guess, to May December. You start off and you're like, oh, Jacob Elordi's so hot. Oh, his character. Oh, everyone. I was like, I get it. I want to.
Everyone's obsessed with him.
And then over time, you're like, God, he's kind of an asshole, right? Ooh, he's kind of shitty.
Right.
And then for me also, Barry Keoghan, you're like, oh gosh. And then I'm kind of like, oh, he can kind of get it. And then you're like, oh my God, he's really crazy.
Oh, there was a rise
And
and
then
a fall.
you're like, but he can still kind of get it? No.
When suddenly it was like Barry Keoghan, the Dom, I was like,
And he's ripped?
yes.
And I was like,
Do you understand?
Yes.
when that switch turned on the sister and him,
Oh, yeah.
and he was just a Dom,
Yeah,
and
he-
I was like, yes.
Yeah. he's like, you need to eat, baby. And she's like, okay. And you're like,
you will eat tomorrow. I was like, oh, like the energy in the theater changed. Like,
Yes.
I was like, oh,
oh.
okay.
It was wild.
I will, Barry Keoghan. I will.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh no, what's happening?
No, don't murder me.
Well, because he's from Banshees of Inisherin.
Yes.
So that was
And
exciting.
he was great in that.
He was great in that.
Yeah,
he's
done.
he's great in this.
Yes. I think he's really talented.
He's really talented. He really goes for it.
Oh.
I think you'll really go for it.
I think he'll really go,
Go
for it. It was very that.
He really did, though. He was down to clown.
The trust that he gave to Emerald Fennel
Yeah.
was astounding.
Yeah. And vice versa.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Question.
Yeah.
Why was the whole thing in 4:3?
Thank you. I knew as soon as it happened, I was like, oh, Ava's gonna be so pissed.
I just don't know why.
Because it was a period piece, but it was a period piece of like 2006. It wasn't.
Well, okay, so it starts and we're at Oxford and
Yeah.
da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And I go, juicy couture sweatpants. Oh, it's 2006.
Yep.
And I loved that.
Yeah.
Like that I was like, what? Oh.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing here. Got it.
Yes. There was a moment that I particularly loved.
Mm.
Barry Keoghan's father has allegedly passed. And Jacob Elordi is very sweet and is like, we have this tradition where we toss stones into the river with their name on it. Fucking mud on the side. Anyway, you know, they're talking, and the entire scene I am largely distracted because in the background, and it's just Benny Benassi's Satisfaction, and I was like, this is so accurate.
It was, well, because Emerald Fennel went to Oxford,
Shocker.
and I believe in 2006 or
Yeah.
there and about, and so this all felt so specific.
So specific.
And we haven't really gone back and examined the early aughts yet.
No.
You know, like we're still kind of stuck in the 90s.
Yeah.
But they're creeping in.
Yes, they are.
And it was like, ooh, what's this? This is exciting. I
Yeah.
haven't, ooh. So I like that a lot. But it was very specific.
Oh, yeah.
And
But I appreciated that
sure-
because it felt real.
Sure-handed. Sure-handed.
Sure.
Sure-handed.
Sure.
So Barry Keoghan has, he's a nerd.
He's a nerd. He's a poor student.
He's
at
on
this
scholarship.
fancy, yeah.
He read the entire reading list.
Yes.
50 books on there, you're mad.
I thought we were supposed to.
King James Bible is on there. Telling me you spent your whole summer reading the Bible. Reading list is optional.
He's sort of fish out of water, in over his head.
Very
with all
smart.
these
He has one
rich
nerdy friend who
kids.
will talk to him.
Fucking losers. Like we wanted to go anyway. As if we actually want to talk to those vapid cunts.
I guess the best way I can describe this movie is if you took Brideshead Revisited and all of the subtext.
Oh, actually, our parents were friends. That was my cousin.
And all of the sinewy subtext underneath was brought to the surface.
Sure.
But also Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights crossed genres and joined the cast.
Okay, great.
Because some crazy fucking gothic shit happens
Sure.
in this movie, and I was like, oh, I see Heathcliff has joined us.
It also was like somehow gave me Ari Aster vibes. Mm-hmm. Like not fully, not as dark and whatever.
No, but there was, you know, what's this?
And like
What?
the antlers,
What's
just vibes.
this? Vibes
And shock.
and what's this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Shock. Vibes and shock.
Vibes and shock. And like a world building, you know? I really did feel transported for all 2 hours or whatever it was.
Yes. So, speaking of, I thought this movie was a little long.
The third act.
Pacing
Yeah.
wise, they did the thing I hate, which is we start at the end.
Yep.
And we get back to it and it just cuts all the tension because you're like, well, then he survives, I guess.
Well,
You know that Barry Keoghan makes it to the end.
and he's cleaned up and handsome and professional.
And I was like, fuck.
yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I really hate it.
Yes.
And I need it to stop. And
Yeah.
I don't understand it as a trope.
No.
I don't know why.
Like you said, it undercuts the entire tension and questioning.
Unless it's, you know, I guess what it was like Usual Suspects, where it's a twist upon a twist
Sure.
or whatever. But even then, it's tired. I'm over it. It gives me nothing. I hate it. Speaking of,
Yeah.
I watched The Lesson, the other Richard E. Grant movie from this year, with hot guy from Leo Grande
Oh, yeah, he's great.
as guy who comes to tutor literary son, mysterious things happening in the house. What's really going on?
I remember seeing the trailer for that.
Perfectly good.
Okay.
He's hot. The cast is fantastic. Julie Delpy, Richard E. Grant, killing it.
Yeah.
Cool, weird house. It starts at the end. And then you get there and go, well, yeah, that's what happened. And I was like,
So start 3 minutes in.
you just fast forward through it. And it's not even a spoiler, but it's just like, well, then we know that he ends up there.
Right.
And there was a little bit too much of, aha, it was my plan all along, except you couldn't have controlled all those factors and it made no sense.
Well, that was this movie.
I know.
And that was...
No.
So, okay.
Right.
I guess we've already done the spoiler alert.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we
yeah,
assuming at this point that you've watched it. And I guess my big thing with this movie was that it was like fun, crazy, whatever.
Crazy. It really slowed down.
It really slowed down.
Yeah.
After Jacob Elordi died, then it becomes
so
this whole other
anticlimactic.
movie.
It was so
anticlimactic.
So like, I mean, there's a few things we have to talk about before
Well, of
the
course.
third act.
Okay, fair.
I mean, so he gets invited to their grand estate, Saltburn, for the summer because he's sad, poor boy, and he's my mom's a drug addict and my dad's dead, and
Yeah.
I'm not being mean. It makes sense later if you saw the movie.
Yeah.
Ollie, what's happened?
And he's in love with or whatever, Jacob Elordi, just the sexual tension between them was palpable.
Yes. And he knows it, right? He likes the attention and he likes to tease him, right? So, I mean, there's a scene where this is...
Are we talking about it?
I mean, I think we're not, right? If we're talking about the tension.
Sure.
I mean, like, it's obviously a choice to have a Jack and Jill bathroom. First of all, to have a Jack and Jill bathroom with
Jack something else.
Well, yes, that was what I was going to say. But to have a Jack and Jill bathroom in a household of, 30 rooms?
Otherwise, he'd have to be on the other end of the mansion, Andrew.
Well, sure. But, like, I mean, that's, it's like, that's a choice.
The tour, the oneer.
Oh, my God.
Of the tour of him. Oh, yeah, and that was something.
Green room, garden, some fucking hideous Rubens.
But yeah, so it's a choice to leave the bathroom door of your Jack and Jill bathroom open while you're jerking off in the tub.
While you're what? Jacking off.
What's
It's a Jack and Jill bathroom.
Okay, sure, fair. I did ruin the joke, I'm sorry. But so that's what I'm saying. That's where you started, he's kind of an asshole. He's really playing with him.
The camera just like lovingly photographing him like dewy in the bath.
In the tub.
As he's pleasing himself in this clawfoot. Oh, it was so much.
Yeah. And then
this was the first time people walked out.
Yes.
Of the theater.
Yeah. Barry Keoghan goes into the bathroom.
Yes, he finishes and leaves.
Yep. Jacob finishes and leaves.
I feel like it would be gone by then, but no.
That's what I would think,
It was more metaphorical. Anyway, he slurps up his essence from the drain. Yeah. And it was more visceral than most horror movies. No! At first, because it's so painstakingly. So at first, he's just kind of like sniffing the tub, and you're like, okay, it's like, because they've talked about his aftershave before.
Sure.
Okay, he's just sort of like, I'm really.
The smell of him.
And then he keeps going. And then he keeps going.
And then he
really digs in there.
Right.
And that tub's hundreds of years old, and I don't know.
It was a lot. Tetanus. No, it was beyond it. Yeah, that was so much. Yeah,
but it was fun.
At first, you're like, maybe he's just smelling it. And so that's a creepy, weird thing to do. But like, he's really into him. He's so love struck. He's young. I don't know. And then it's like
he's Heathcliff. He's fucking crazy.
And then he licks the tub, and you're like, that's a lot, buddy.
Okay,
this is gross.
that's.
And then it's full on slurping. It's like, and you're just like, this is so much.
As opposed to the peach fucking scene, which you fell asleep during. Maybe I think it's the acting. Barry Keoghan is so good.
Charismatic.
You're with him.
Yeah.
Even when you're not. You're like, but I kind of, again, it's that.
I mean.
It's that you're like, I don't know, but yes.
There is a point in this movie where I'm sure people walked out that we will get to, where I couldn't help myself but being like, I don't know, you can kind of get it.
That was the time when all the teenagers walked out of the movie.
Oh.
It was interesting.
Well, Gen Z is very non-sex,
They were clearly uncomfortable and had wandered into the wrong theater.
Well.
Or whatever.
Right.
It was like a guy and a girl and a guy and a girl. And I was like, this is not a date movie.
Not a date movie.
Maybe it's the best date movie.
You certainly know if it's right or not.
It's definitely a litmus test, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like you want to go see Blue Velvet, Yes.
Oh, mommy.
During the bathtub scene, some older people walked out. During, are we there?
I guess, right. I would say there are 3 distinct scenes for me where I would be like, yep, people would walk out there. The first was the cum slurping. The second...
Full sickos. Everyone's a full sicko. Come on, Hunter. Lean in.
The second is with the sister.
Oh boy, yes. The sister has sort of been around and
she's pretty and
she's pretty, classic 2006, big blonde extensions, you know, shiny fabric, kind of exhibitioning herself a bit, and bored with life, you know.
Yeah. And she's in a nightgown out by the fountain in front of his
They meet out in the
window.
garden, you know. This is when he turns into a dom.
Right.
And I was like, oh.
How about you get your ass in the kitchen and make a pot of coffee, or I pick you up and throw you right the fuck out the window.
Oh my, okay.
and this was where, I mean, I guess he's bisexual, or it turns out maybe he's just an opportunist.
This is when I was like, wait, is this Teorema? And it's Terrence Stamp, and he's just come to fuck the whole family.
Right.
And I was like,
well,
yes?
My name is Pierre. I have come from Paris. I have come to have sex with your family. Help yourself.
And so I was like, it didn't quite go to.
Not quite.
There wasn't, this movie didn't have the crescendo I thought it could have had.
Correct. I agree.
We'll
get there.
Even though people are talking about the ending.
Yes.
It still wasn't that, and boy does Promising Young Woman have a crescendo.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I still prefer it. It's a better movie.
Sure.
But, so anyway.
All right. So
they meet in the garden.
They meet in the garden, and he's like, "You have an eating disorder. You need to keep your food down. You're gonna do this." And then he just kind of like he just commands her. It snaps.
You're like, oh.
Oh. And then they kiss, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And he
starts to go downstairs.
And she's like, no, I can't. It's not a good time.
It's the wrong time of the month.
Yeah. And he goes, you think I care?
Good thing I'm a vampire. And you're like, oh, that's a weird thing to say.
It's lucky for you, I'm a vampire.
And then they make out with her period blood.
With her period blood. And I was like, no.
This was also, no. But for me, the tub was worse, I think. I don't know why, because so many other things could be in the tub.
Let's just say those are both things that I would never do.
That's the thing I'd never do.
I don't know.
You're like, you get why the whole family is seduced by him.
Sure.
Which is the point.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's the same thing with Teorema, like where you're like, I mean, yeah. No.
No.
Yes?
Yes. And no. Then what are you saying? I'm saying no. But I'm leaning towards yes.
And I guess it was interesting to me too because we had seen so much of him being this shy little wallflower of like, oh, I don't have any charisma. I'm so.
And
and then he gets there and it's like boom! All of a sudden now he is he is smart, he is witty, he is charming, he
knows what to say to each individual person to win them over.
Yes.
Do you mean Bernard Palissy, the 16th century Huguenot ceramicist?
Yes. Do you know him?
And there's no trunks allowed in the field.
Oh, yeah, well, right. There's.
Oh, good job, mate. What a twist.
What a twist.
Something that comes up later.
Good for you. What a twist.
Does it? Well, we see it. Yes.
It comes up later. I also loved the really specific thing that everyone was reading Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah,
or whichever Harry Potter came out in 2006 or whatever, whichever, I forget which one. That really tickled me. That it was just like, do you think Ron and Hermione and Harry are going to have a threesome or whatever? They're just like in the background, everyone's reading Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's just funny little touches
little
like that.
Like again, it felt very specific. Yeah, well, so this was fun where it was like, I kind of was wondering where it was going. And it kind of had that thing of like, well, everything seems to be going pretty good. Like he's in like Flint, he's
Well, okay, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Did you believe his story? Were you like, oh, he's the nicest, shyest boy and he really came from this tragic family?
Yeah,
and
he
all
got
of that?
Miguel.
Okay, I was like, no. That guy's lying.
It's bullshit.
I mean, I maybe not entirely.
Like
but
when it was revealed that all of that was bullshit, were you surprised?
Not enough. No.
Not in a
no way.
I was like, obviously.
I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it was like, oh, it's the full family. The parents are fully alive. Oh, but first, I mean, him and Roz. Oh, well, we didn't even talk about Carey Mulligan.
We didn't even talk about Pamela.
Daddy always said I'd end up at the bottom of the Thames.
So far, so good.
And Pamela's wig.
She'll do anything for attention.
Pamela died?
Pamela's funeral.
Pamela died.
Yeah.
She'd do anything for attention.
Yeah, she'll do anything for attention. She's got great fashion sense, but she's such a dour bitch, or what did she say? I don't know.
No, she is rather dull, actually, but she's so beautiful. You have to admit, she's very beautiful.
Her lines and delivery, Rosamund Pike, give her an Oscar. Loved it. Oh my God.
All of her gowns, we dressed for dinner.
Yes.
Like all of
Oh,
the sparkly, off the
God.
shoulder
Yeah.
capes. Oh, it was really good.
Loved it. But also, I mean, Carey Mulligan was, I thought, amazing. I don't typically like her.
Okay.
For whatever reason,
Yeah.
she often tends to annoy me. But in this, I was...
Because she's the star of Promising Young Woman, so...
Right, of
get
course.
into
yeah,
it.
Yeah. Well, right. But she tickled me.
Oh, she was hilarious.
But he spoke Russian all the time, and it just sounded so romantic, and I don't know the Russian word for horse, so I sort of thought it sounded like lovely poetry.
The Henrys are
The
coming
Henrys
over.
they're not all called Henry. Well, just most of them.
Who are the Henrys?
Dad's friends. They're all called Henry.
Not all of them, just most. Oh, how about fancy dress?
Oh, yes.
I can wear my suit of armour, Elspeth.
Good idea, darling.
We could do fancy dress. Elspeth, I could wear my suit of armor. His hair was always like wacky.
And they were
in the dry sort of upper crust comedy. Like they
Yes.
were in their own movie
Yes.
that wasn't totally separate, but like they were in the comedy.
Absolutely.
And everyone else was sort of in this psychosexual drama.
It was very like Cruel Intentions, you know. We didn't put that up, but we could have.
We didn't.
It was that kind of vibe, right? Of like boarding school, upper crust,
Yeah,
you know,
rich kids bored with their lives.
Right,
What are
playing
we gonna
with other
do
people
to...
and, you know.
Well, okay, so the third big scene.
Yes.
Where the majority of the theater had walked out and I was alone.
So wait, you were the only person who didn't walk out of the movie?
Yes. I was left alone to cackle
and
be delighted.
I love it. And then what a denouement to miss.
That's what I was like, good job, Emerald. You did it. Oh boy, I kept being like, is this gonna put them over the edge?
Yeah.
Oh. So yes.
Does he fuck the cousin, or they just?
He kind of gives him he loops up his hand.
Oh, I missed the lube. I don't remember that.
He spits in his hand.
Oh, that's true. He did do that. Yeah, so one would assume.
You know, I mean, I don't know how far it went.
Right,
but,
right.
He certainly did some stuff.
Right, and then mysteriously the cousin is caught
trying to sell something to Christie's or something
or
like that.
whatever.
Basically, he's taking everyone down one by one.
Well, at least certainly everyone who knows about him.
Well, the cousin never trusted him, right? The
Right.
cousin was always like, he couldn't control the cousin.
Right, so he had to go.
He had to go.
They had to go.
And then Jacob
Now, wouldn't that have
Elordi.
been interesting if he took out Pamela for some reason? You know what I mean? Like,
that
just kind of.
Well, we never know.
We meet Pamela. She's sort of like the ever, suffering house guest that is just around.
But it'll be terrible when you're gone. How will I cope?
Well, I could actually stay for a little bit
Oh,
longer.
no, darling, no. You must be desperate to be rid of us and find your own place. I quite understand.
One by one, he's seducing / getting rid of people.
Well, yeah, but then it's his birthday.
Well, it's culminating to the birthday, yes.
And they're all going to have this big party for him. And Jacob Elordi is like, oh, I have a surprise for you. And he takes him to see his mom to reconcile. And it turns out that his parents are both alive and well and not anything like he's been saying.
And he has a bunch of sisters. I thought that was interesting. They say he has like 4 sisters.
That's right. Oh, you never talked about them or whatever. And he's like, what? He always talks about his sisters. Yeah, that was right.
I was like, okay, we're coloring in the lines.
The lines a little bit, yeah.
This is when the air kind of fell out of the room for me.
A little bit.
Because you wanted him to win. You wanted him to dominate them. You wanted him to fuck all of them in more ways than one.
Right. And I still wanted him and Jacob to fuck, and then they never did.
I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
Even in a dream, if we had to do it,
sure.
something. Give me something, because it was palpable.
Yes, it was.
And so he's caught out, right? Oh God, he loses all of his power.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no. And after that moment, it slowed down. The tension was gone.
Mm-hmm.
The the driving force was gone, and I don't think it ever fully recovered.
I agree. But it does shift. It just transitions
shifts.
into a different movie now.
But it's too late to cancel the huge birthday party that they're throwing for him with this Midsummer Night's Dream.
Which is also absurd, though. You could just make it a party. No one knew happy birthday to... Happy birthday! Shit, I can't remember his name.
Oliver.
Oh, fuck. Yeah,
It was
like,
Oliver.
literally, but like,
yeah.
it was silent. That was the joke.
Now, that would have been funny if that wasn't even his name, because he was just little orphan Oliver.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Because I do think a lot, I mean, like, the fact that he read the entire reading list, and he's a literature major, and all of that, like, I felt like it was pulling from so many classics. And I'm sure if you watched it again, I pick up on more or whatever.
Yeah.
But, so they're throwing the big party, and Jacob Elordi is, you have till tomorrow, and then you're out of here because you've been lying and blah, 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 blah.
So the party's happening. Seems fabulous.
Pretty fabulous.
It looked fun to me.
I don't like parties.
Oh. Great.
Party. Okay.
So it was like a...
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Not for me per se.
I felt like this was fun for me where, like Pride and Prejudice parties, like big house parties, like at these mansions and stuff.
Sure.
It's always old-timey, right? Where it's like, and then we danced like this. And, Mary's playing the piano all dourly and everyone's like, oh, way to clear the room, Mary.
Mary, let's have no more of that dull stuff. Play something jolly. We want to dance.
But there are still 2 movements. Mama, tell them it isn't fair.
Oh, play a jig, Mary. No one wants your concertos here.
Very well. Though you know it gives me little pleasure.
But this was like a modern, I was like, I can imagine how fun it would be to have a fucking huge-ass castle house party.
Well, and how much money did they spend on this party, and all of that, and all the costumes.
Yeah.
His, like, lacy white suit.
Oh, yeah. And then the antlers. It was great.
Like
and so they had set up earlier, he was looking in the library at the map of the maze.
He's very smart.
And the butler was like, can I help you?
Yeah.
And I was like, is he not allowed to be in this room? Anyway.
Well, yeah, there was a sense of don't go in there, don't touch stuff, don't steal things.
Sure.
There was a pervasive, like, the whole tour was, like, purposefully maze-like and confusing when he's like, and we're going through here, and that's the red room, and this is the da-da-da-da-da-da, or whatever.
Okay,
so,
sure.
like, I got that sense.
Okay, fair.
This is the long gallery. Dead Relly, Dead Rellies, Daddy's old Teddy.
You go where we bring you to.
Yeah.
Fair.
These eggs are runny.
Oh.
Runny eggs, I get a bit sick from them.
I've been thinking about runny eggs. Jacob is fucking some woman in the Baphomet statue.
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, what's this? It was giving me the Magus. It was like the statues and like all this weird sexual stuff happening and let's fuck on the statue.
I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm kind of into it.
The Magus is mystery. The game he plays is love. Or is it death?
And I was like, no, can you
be fucking him?
do we want him to fuck Barry or Barry? I want Barry to fuck him, I think, right?
I guess.
I don't know.
It seems like that's what's...
They're
until they ruined it, yes, that's what I wanted. But
Right.
then at a certain point, I was like, well, none of this is working now. All of the tension's gone. It's ruined.
I know. I really need... Anyway, maybe that was the point, but I wanted them to fuck. Anyway, so they're in the maze and...
Yep, and they have a fight, and he's like, no, fuck you. You're fucking crazy. You're a liar. I don't trust you. I don't want to see you ever again. You're fucking crazy, man.
And it's kind of like, oop, fade to black next morning.
Right. They wake up, and they're like, oh, where is he? Jacob? Oh, yeah, I don't remember his name.
They're looking in the lake. They can't find him.
And then they find him in the
dead.
maze,
and
he's
I was like,
just
oh,
dead.
Oh.
And then...
Yeah. So, I mean, it was obvious that he had killed him.
Right.
I mean, that would be a great time to kill somebody. A huge fucking party.
A huge party when everyone's in the fucking maze and you couldn't find each other and you can't find it. You have to, like...
The police are having a terrible time.
It's the police. They're having trouble.
What kind of trouble?
They keep getting lost in the maze.
They're stuck in the maze. They can't get the body out. That lunch. Just close the fucking curtain!
So the butter doesn't melt.
Although I would think that applied more to pastry than to cake.
Duncan! Just get them closed, for Christ's sake!
Wild and great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
As
so
soon as he died, it really slowed down.
it slowed down.
But there is one more crazy scene.
Yes, and this was the one where everyone left, I assume.
Everyone that was the teenagers that had made it through
Yep.
the
Wow.
cum slurping and the vampire period blood scene.
Through the bath cum slurp and through the period blood makeout.
Bath cum slurp. Eat, pray, love. And
Bath cum slurp. Good. Anyway, yes, it's at the funeral.
Yeah.
Everyone has left. It's just the grave.
is it raining?
It was raining.
It was raining.
He starts to peel off his wet clothes.
And sort of cry on
Cries
the open
on
gravestone.
the open grave. Until he then just starts fucking the grave.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was funny.
I-
because so all the teenagers
Right.
were clearly uncomfortable.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were laughing at the wrong things.
Oh, no.
But they were
Right.
laughing at things that made them uncomfortable.
Sure.
And not at the jokes.
Right.
And I was like,
Aw.
too bad for you guys.
Yeah.
You should have gone to see Trolls.
And, yeah.
And so they were like, and they all left together. Like they decided, like as a group, like we have to go.
Meanwhile, I mean, like,
And meanwhile,
not
I'm
gonna
like,
lie, Barry Keoghan can get it. I mean, to be clear, Barry, not Oliver.
Sure. I mean, he was. And but this is when it was really giving Wuthering Heights vibes.
Okay.
Because in the book, and they never put this in any of the movies because how could you? Although Emerald Fennel's Wuthering Heights, would. Maybe she could get it right. Because all the other adaptations, they only do the first half of the book, and it's romantic.
Right.
And
you're like, what is this? Into the Woods? You gotta have both halves.
Yeah. The love of, I love you till my soul, into my soul or whatever. In the book, he unburies her grave and sleeps next to her body and is like, I'm gonna love your soul forever, and spends the night down there. So I was like, Heathcliff has joined the party. And so, yeah, he fucks that grave. Yeah.
Wow. I was like, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe was I scandalized?
Oh, I'm scandalized!
I was,
shocked.
I was like,
titillated. It was, no. This is really
and then
on the screen right now.
And then this was also the moment when I realized I was alone in the theater, which
Love
was
it.
fun. And so I was just like, ah! I was excited that art was so affecting for people. I was like, ooh, this is exciting.
It did its job. So then it becomes a bit of a trudge, right?
It slows down.
Then the sister is all sad and depressed,
Yeah.
and she's like, why are you still fucking here? Like,
right.
Leave. And so then she has to go.
They had to go.
And this was kind of anticlimactic.
Well, he kind of prompts her to kill herself, I suppose.
Is that what it was? He just leaves the razor
in
on the edge?
Big reveal, and this is how I would have done it if I did it, because I did it all along.
Well, it was very just like the sixth sense of it all. I'm like, we were there, we saw this, we know that he
But
was
in
seeing...
Sixth Sense, you're like, oh, I'm looking at it from a different angle. In
Fair.
this, I was like, yeah, obviously he was behind it all.
Right. That's fair. It was like, oh, that's how he did it? He put poison in the champagne bottle that he then puked out immediately? Okay.
So, let's be real.
Oh, he put a razor blade or cut her wrists and
It seemed to imply that he just like led her to the ledge. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
It seemed. We don't know.
Yeah.
But she kills herself in the bathtub.
In the bathtub that he cum slurped out of. More blood and cum.
No. That was the worst one for me, honestly. The tub was the worst one.
More than the grave fucking.
More than the grave fucking. This is just Earth, you know?
It's true. It was just dirt. I guess Richard E. Grant is like, you gotta leave.
He dies off camera. Well, this is when the motivations start to blur a little.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he gets kicked out and then time jumps. But again, it would have been better if we hadn't seen... Because at the jump, you think maybe he's talking to a therapist. You're not quite sure he's
Who
talking
he's talking
to someone.
No, I wasn't in love with him. I loved him, but I wasn't in love with him.
I wasn't in love with him.
And it was like, it was the police, I guess, investigating him to
No, he was
see-
talking to Elspeth's comatose body.
Oh, that's right.
And I really thought we were going to go the neon demon route and he was going to fuck that body.
I thought he was gonna fuck it too.
I was kind of waiting for it, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe that was too far.
I guess. I mean, there was tension there too, right? It seemed like he wanted to fuck her, and I thought she was into it.
Yeah.
Because you're so fucking beautiful.
They could have at least had, like a dalliance at the pool house or something.
Something. I don't know.
And I wanted one scene with him and Richard E. Grant where Richard E. Grant was sort of
Glamored by him.
Oh.
Right, we never saw him give Richard E. Grant anything that he wanted aside from an excuse to wear his armor suit.
Maybe that's all he wanted in the world.
There you go. It's all that tickled him.
Headstone. Choose a font.
What font did you choose?
Times New Roman.
What font did you choose for the gravestone? Times New Roman.
It'll be good, I think.
Yeah. It's a good choice. It's solid.
That's nice. That'll be good.
Really made me
I know,
laugh.
right?
I know, that really got me.
We had to, because it was like this about, we had to pick a font. Like, I don't fucking care or whatever. What font did you pick?
Because I'm planning on fucking it later.
Oh my God, right. Yeah, then it gets so extra, right? Each one of them dies and they throw the stones into the river. And then he goes and collects them at the end.
Did he?
Yeah, and he put them on top of the marionette box that was in his room of
I was waiting, not that I needed some dramatic, you stole my grandfather's patent and that's why you're rich and I'm poor. I didn't need that.
Right.
But I needed something or it to have a crescendo. It would have been almost better just to end with him fucking the grave somehow.
Almost. I honestly could have almost ended there. And just have it be like this weird love story of whatever. And that was the summer of Saltburn.
It was like a weird gothic romance,
yeah.
I guess, or something.
And it really got more and more absurd. And the only reason that I liked the
ending is...
The flashback was because of him typing at the cafe.
Oh my God, that really made me laugh. So it's 15 years later, and Richard E. Grant has died in the interim.
Yep, he reads it in the paper.
Rosamund Pike comes into the coffee shop.
And he just happens to be there.
I just happened to be there.
Working on his novel.
And he inserts himself into her life again.
Yeah.
And it's vaguely alluded that he makes her sick. Because
Yeah.
he says, oh, it's a shame you got so sick. He's talking to her comatose body.
Yeah.
It seems to imply that he has done
something
to her
make her sick.
Ill. And
Yeah.
But at first, of course, she is signed over Saltburn to him because everyone else is dead. And he just wanted the house the whole time.
The whole time.
Money, I guess.
And so is this long game. And then they beautiful mind it back to he saw him and was
and I did this puzzle piece and
I
that
put a
puzzle piece.
thumbtack in his bike tire so he got a flat tire.
I'm okay. I really didn't need it.
Right.
It was so much. I was like, leave it a mystery. I think that was the thing, up until he got caught out, he was such an intriguing mystery.
Exactly.
And then it just all,
Yeah.
oh no.
It was underwhelming of that was the mystery. A little. For me, it was
totally.
He was lying and then he just tried to take their money
he just wanted,
he killed them all.
He waited 15 years just for the money? I mean, money is a motivator, but
what was he doing for 15 years?
This was so elaborate.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And why not just kill Richard E. Grant sooner? I guess he had to let everything cool off so that he wasn't a suspect so that then he could get her to sign it over.
So anyway, underperforms in the third act.
Yeah.
But he does get to have a fully nude naked dance party tour of the house.
Yes.
It was paralleling the tour.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm into this.
What was the song? It was great.
Murder on the Dance Floor.
Murder on the Dance Floor. Better up, kill the groove, DJ. If you think you're getting away. And his big old floppy dick, and
It's murder on the dance floor. I don't think that was a prosthetic.
Good for you, mate. No, I think it was him.
Because he was dancing around.
Yeah. That'd be hard to do.
Good for you, mate.
What a twist.
What a twist.
Well. Good for you. What a twist.
And then later, he does have big dick energy, so.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. I just wish we'd gotten a little more satisfying of a motivation or leave it a mystery.
Right.
The beautiful mind, and it was me all along, didn't you know? I hate
and
those.
it wasn't.
They very rarely are satisfying.
That is true.
Wow.
Wild, crazy, campy,
memorable,
fun, memorable, not perfect.
No,
maybe not good, but also yes.
But also really into it. I'm so excited for Emerald Fennel's career.
Sure.
Because both the movies have so much to say, but are still beautiful and fun.
Okay, yeah.
And shocking.
I hope that she doesn't get too big of a head.
I mean, I don't think so after... because Promising Young Woman came out of nowhere, right? And she won the Oscar for screenplay.
Yeah.
If this is what she follows it up with, I have high hopes.
Sure.
For, her trajectory.
Sure.
Right? She could have signed on to do a fucking Marvel movie or something.
Well, I don't think that. Well.
I'm sure they offered her shit.
Maybe.
I'm sure they offered her Barbie or something.
Right. Now.
Because she's in Barbie. She's Midge.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. But I like that she's edgy and weird and makes interesting, beautiful, shocking movies about subject matter that doesn't always get talked about.
Yes.
And so I'm just very excited that I'm here now while this is happening.
Absolutely.
I'm quite excited about
it.
Yeah,
Love it.
Yeah.
I got distracted thinking about, I forget his name, I'm sorry. We'll put it up here. Guy from Leo Grand.
His name is not memorable.
No,
but,
unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Him.
As the cousin?
As the cousin, I was thinking, and I was like, because then I would, like, them fucking would be, but also him and maybe Jacob Elordi.
And
or really
him
any,
and Richard E.
like,
Grant. Anyone, all of them.
Into, like, simmering, sexy...
Yeah. Well, like Maurice or those other Merchant Ivory movies where it's all under the surface.
Yeah.
We're kind of examining it in the 21st century, and it's more more on top and explicit.
Yeah.
But still reserved.
Yeah. I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Cheers to Barry Keoghan.
Oh my God, honestly.
Oscar?
And
just for the big swing of it. I feel like give him an Oscar.
For the big swing of it?